friend of mine works at a salvage yard named Wright's. He was telling me how they kept all kinds of steel in stock and I should come check it out. I had a project come up that I needed some steel for some bench legs, so he paid him a visit.
It's like a wonderland of steel.
I ended up getting 10 feet of 1/4 by 2 inch mild steel. I started by cutting all the pieces I needed. Ideally, I'd use a metal chop saw, but I don't own one, so I used my angle grinder. Once all the pieces were cut, I put a grinding disc on the angle grinder and removed the mill scale for better welds. I tack welded all of my pieces in place, then ran a full bead on all the joints. I'm using a MIG welder configured with solid 030 wire and MIG gas, but you could also use flux core. Then I ground down all of my welds and removed the rest of the mill scale. Then I changed over to a 40 grit flat disc to give the legs a brushed steel look. I had never done this before, but I think it turned out really cool. The legs aren't stainless, so to keep them from rusting, I gave them a coat of polyurethane. On to the top. I visited my sawyer and asked what he had that had been drying for a while, and I came home with this 8/4 by 10 inch red oak. I cut it to length for the client's specs, then ran it through my planer and my jointer. There's only a little bit of snipe, but I had to clean it up with my hand plane. There's a little bit of bark left on the edge, and I cleaned that up with my draw knife. Then I sanded everything to 220 grit. I'm using Danish oil as a finish on the top. It's a clean and simple look that I really like, and it keeps the wood very natural feeling. I marked the placement for some holes so I can secure the legs to the top with some lag screws. I started the holes with a small bit so it didn't wander, then I switched over to a bit large enough to fit the lags. I could have done this on the drill press to keep a consistent slow speed to keep the bit cool, but I was feeling frisky and I did it by hand. Now I need to sharpen my bit. I positioned the legs, then marked the hole placement on the underside of the bench top. I drilled the pilot holes for the lags using tape as a depth marker on the bit. Make sure to use the right size bit for your lags. The bit should be the smaller diameter of the shaft of the lag and not the threads. That way the threads will bite into the wood while still clearing the shaft. I added some felt pads to the bottom and tried out the oak and steel bench. That was a fun project and I really think the client's gonna like it. Thanks for watching, guys.